Hello. Thank you all for being here. Again, I honor you for being here so very, very much. And as always, I thank you guys for the work that you're doing, for yourselves, for being here, for other people, for the care that you're giving to other people, and tirelessly. It's yeoman's work. And you have to understand that there are a lot of people out there that appreciate what you do, what you're going through, either individually or as a family. And I know, after doing this work for a couple of decades, I know that you're here because a lot of you are experiencing some level of anxiety, some level of trauma, and maybe even a degree of grief that's been brought about by mental illness for yourself, for your loved ones, for your family, and for other people that you may know. So if you're here tonight, you've taken some time because you're really interested in getting over some of the chaos and the complexity that mental illness is wreaking on your life or on your loved ones' lives or in your family. And that should not go unnoticed, and it should be heralded. And I just want to give every one of you a pat on the back. If I could just reach out to you and give you a pat on the back, I would. This is important stuff, and I don't minimize anything about it, and neither should you. So let me just give you a little bit of background for myself. I don't like talking about myself very much. You could probably Google stuff about me, but I am Michael Machniak. Why am I here? Why am I qualified to talk to you? Why am I uniquely in a position to be able to talk to you right now? I'm a lawyer. Don't hold it against me. But that's not why I'm uniquely qualified. What makes me uniquely qualified is that in my law practice, I discovered the world of mental illness. And in my law practice, we developed into a nonprofit agency that has been consulting with families and state agencies and policymakers all around the idea of how to better serve folks with mental illnesses on a day-to-day basis. Basically, we're trying to make sure that folks are not falling through the cracks, right? So I'm an attorney. I'm also a high-performance mastermind level coach. And I've consulted with families just like yours on various ways to put together strategies and plans and prepare ourselves for when that next disruption caused by mental illness happens. So over the last 20 years, 25 years, I developed what's called the Guardian model that deals with the efficient, that's a key word here, efficient delivery of services throughout very complex mental health systems across the country. It's been nationally recognized by various groups like NAMI, the Probate Judges College, the National Probate Judges College have awarded us and had me speak at a couple of their conferences. Decision Health has given us a couple of awards and asked me to speak at their conferences. Eli Whitney gave us, Eli Whitney, I'm thinking of Connecticut. Eli Lilly has given us some wonderful accolades and awards. And my team and I are really, really proud of the work that we've been able to do for others and with you all and helping folks with mental illnesses. I've written a book about our program and my philosophies about trying to make an efficient mental health service system. It's called Saving Melissa, the 7 C's, Secure the Mental Health System. I've founded Melissa's Project and Conservative Care. Both programs provide assistance to clients and their families, trying to basically get the best outcome for all, including the service system. Folks, I have acted and I've been honored to act and consult on some of the most dynamic, complex, and very interesting behavioral health cases that you can imagine. And I'm telling you that through that journey, and what I've really been focusing on lately is my passion for helping families just like yours to overcome and to really work through the onset of mental illness and what that means for your families. But I'm guessing through my experience that most of you here clearly have been disrupted by mental illness one way or other. It's either yourself or a loved one, or you may be seeing your family being continuously disrupted by the impact of mental illness, and that's why we need to get together. I mean, you may be seeing mental illness manifest itself in a loved one, but the ripple effect and the current that produces is impacting everyone around that loved one, including you, including your other kids or your parents, And it may sometimes even impact an entire community. And folks with mental illness are stuck in the middle of this as well. And they're greatly impacted, obviously. That's why we're all doing the work that we're doing to care and let them know that we want to support them. I imagine, and because I've had so much feedback from people all over the country, all over the world, frankly, many of you have been potentially put in a position where you're being blamed for all the things, all the bad things that have gone wrong in your loved one's life. I mean, or all the things that are wrong, or with people in your family that are struggling. Or at some point, I imagine that you've, on some level been dismissed or, shut out, or even, by the mental health system when you're trying to help. Your voice is just not being heard in the noise and the maelstrom that mental illness and sometimes the complexity and the chaos that creates. A lot of this results in us feeling sometimes resentment towards our loved ones, or towards our family, or towards our friends, and towards the system of care. Sometimes we wind up feeling shame or guilt. And it all just comes about just so innocently, but these are real emotions. These are raw emotions that people have told me about over the course of decades. And this is just an awful, awful place to be. It's very lonely. And a lot of us wind up getting stuck here. And we wind up getting paralyzed. We're not moving forward. So we kind of get stuck and we stay in the sameness wheel. Every day seems to be just like the last one and the last one and the last one. It's like a ride that we just can't get off. It's Groundhog Day. So tonight, as the title of the webinar says, I'm going to give you 3 life hacks that I firmly 1,000% know will help to prepare you for the next crisis that's brought about by mental illness, the next time that other shoe drops. But folks, in reality, what I'm going to be talking to you about is more of a reminder of qualities and strengths that you already have really down deep individually based upon your own values and your own code of ethics, your own sort of moral compass. But the hard part is getting reacquainted with those qualities, because for so many of us, we've lost it due to all the crises that we're dealing with and all the trauma and all the chaos, like I keep saying. It's really hard to stay on your game when you're constantly reacting to the needs or the unexpected events, the chaos that is mental illness. But imagine what it would feel like if you could recognize signs and symptoms, if you know when your loved one or when you yourself are going to be facing some trouble down the road, something's coming down the pike. Imagine if you knew what to do, or imagine if you knew who to call. Imagine if you just think about it, close your eyes for a second and think, wow, you know what? I am well informed right now, and I know that there's services out there. But many of us are like, no, I don't know that much about services that are out there. What can the courts do for me? What can the hospitals do for me? What can an attorney, what can a conservator, what can a guardian do for me? What can I expect from hospitalization? But imagine if you had some time back, some time of your own again, some time to maybe have a little bit of freedom from basically the worry, the anxiety that you're feeling every day, every night, and things like that. That's what this is all about, okay? Because families need to come back together. Families need to be empowered for 2 very practical perspectives. All right, first and foremost, nobody is more valuable and more important as a reporter than somebody who has lived with or through the onset of mental illness, okay? You guys know the history. You have seen it. You have seen it, every aspect of it, from the good days to the bad days. You've lived it. If you're a person with mental illness, you could describe it really well. If you're a family member who's been there holding that person's hand, you have walked that journey with them. And our treatment facilities, our treatment providers need the input from you. I mean, how many times have we seen our loved ones be able to just pull it together, so to speak, at the last minute, just when they need to, or tell the doctor just what the doctor wants to hear? Well, I'll tell you what my personal opinion is, just as an aside right now. I think that clinicians or any kind of provider should be obligated to get as much information from as many sources as possible. And that especially means family. Otherwise, what happens? We have all of this treatment being prescribed out there, but it's misinformed treatment. It's not based on foundational facts. And as a second aside, I'm on my soapbox a little bit right now. There is nothing in any confidentiality law, code, statute, anywhere that precludes people from listening to what you have to tell them about your loved one, about your illness. And we could get in more into that later, but that'll get me down a rabbit hole that I just don't want to go. We could have a whole different webinar on that. All right, the second practical aspect of why it's important that families are empowered is because you are a mother or a father. You're a sister, you're a brother, you're a son, you're a daughter, you're a friend, you're a colleague, you're a caregiver, right? No medical profession, no science, no statistician, no egghead out there has been able to figure out or how to parse out the science and the technology versus the emotion and the feelings that are all wrapped up in family and the angst that goes along with mental illness. I mean, no matter what, because of who you are, you're going to advocate, you're going to promote, you're going to care for, you're going to support your loved one, no matter what science says, no matter what protocol says, no matter what policy says, no matter what HIPAA says. You cannot not be that. You are a mother, father, sister, brother. You do that. You are that every single minute of every day of your life. And in that regard, you have to be empowered to give of yourself. Give yourself out there as a resource to that team to help the people who are trying to help your loved one. All right. I'm going to try to stay off soapboxes, but I sometimes get carried away. But one of the things that people tell me often is that it's just really tough. I had a great call with a woman yesterday who was just fantastic. I don't want to mention her name because she didn't give me permission to, but she basically said, it's so hard to reconnect with who I am. What are those emotions and the ethics and the values? What is that moral compass that I talked about before? I feel like it's been stripped away from me. But, deep down, you've got it, man. You guys have had these inherent beliefs about who you are and what your family is your entire life. That's why you're here with me today. But how do we use the drive toward reconnecting with that feeling and that emotion as a springboard so that we could take that energy and really effectuate real positive change and moving forward? All right, we're going to be superheroes, right? We're going to tonight learn that we're going to reinforce our courage and our strength of our convictions. Because for so many of us, we've tragically lost those convictions in all this chaos. For some of us, it happens overnight, just like that. And for so many, I don't know if my friend Mary is here, but she's been dealing with it for 36 years. So sometimes this happens over decades. Sometimes it happens over days. And then we become accustomed to living life in reaction mode. We respond to every single crisis as it comes to us. So we're constantly fighting off, like Wonder Woman with her bracelets, right? We're losing who we once individually were, and we're losing who we are as a family. So today, I'm asking you guys to come with me and let's get back that connection. We're going to proactively work to get back in touch with all of those inner beliefs that we talked about that drive us and carry you so powerfully through those crises. And I know for a fact that you survived 100% of the time through those crises because you're here. How did you do it? Well, today, let's start fresh. Like I said, today I'm going to just remind you the things that you've been doing or that you have to do to begin in that journey all over again. And view it from a lens of somebody who's not a victim, but somebody who's a champion. That's what I want to create in all of you. That, to me, is empowerment. And we need to talk about resilience. we need to exercise these skills that we're talking about. This isn't easy work. It may sound like we're being kitschy or simplistic, but believe me, I don't think the work that I do is in any way kitschy or simplistic. I think the work that I do is incredibly, incredibly valuable and incredibly powerful. And I know that the work that you guys are doing is incredibly difficult. And I know with all of my heart that you guys have strength within you, and I know that you will find strength within your family and your inner circle, and you could also find strength from each other. So I'm not going to minimize anything about what I believe in terms of these life lessons and what you guys all do and what you all experience. But again, we're going to get into core concepts as if we're thinking about them for the first time. We need to be proactive. I always say, be proactive, be proficient, change lives. Being in a state of reaction is inefficient and ineffective as you could possibly be with regard to your most valuable resources, which are your time and your innate skills. None of us asked for this. Nobody went out and bought a ticket. Nobody asked to have mental illness. Nobody asked to be the mother or father of a kid with mental illness or the son or the daughter of a parent with mental illness. Because what I'm promising you here today is that when you prepare, when you are more aware, and the knowledge and the strength is there, and what you're going to do, what your next response is going to be, you are going to feel better about yourself, and that confidence is going to radiate to your entire family and to everybody around you. The thing that's key is that for all of you to understand that mental illness does not define you, and mental illness is not going to define your family. Own that. Own that. It has to be the fabric of your core beliefs and the essence of what it is to you to be a family and to be an empowered family. So when we're seen through that lens, as champions, now we could see the value of being empowered as a family. But this takes courage, and it takes commitment. So everybody on this call here tonight, I'm just asking every single one of you is to make that commitment to yourself. Take some time, invest in yourself to help your family. Help that loved one. Help all of you collectively. Help yourselves individually. Make that investment. The first hack that I want to talk about, okay? I don't even know what a hack is, but that seems like to be all the cool vernacular people use in these webinars. So here's a life hack for you. One of the things that we do, and I know everybody on this webinar is more than likely guilty of this. In any walk of life, we tend as human beings to put other people ahead of ourselves, okay? 99% of us do this. It's the 1% that doesn't do it that is the oddball. We may think it's not true, but it is absolutely true. It is human nature. It is not abnormal. We all want to put others' needs before our own. It's just part of what makes us human beings. I know it's cliche. You see it up there on your screen. But if you don't take care of yourself, you can't be any good to anybody else. So self-care is the number one thing that we're here to talk about tonight. All right, I'm not talking about mindfulness, and I'm not talking about running around, running laps and eating kale. That's not my gig, you know. But self-care is so vitally important. Why do you think it is that when you get on an airplane and you're sitting there in the chair and the woman up front is doing her dance and the speech, they say, in the unlikely event that the pressure in the cabin drops, there's going to be these things that drop from the ceiling. And, once you get done freaking out, flipping around, saying your prayers, swearing, crying, pulling your hair out, which obviously happened to me, you are supposed to then have the wherewithal to take that mask, which, by the way, may not inflate. That's okay. Oxygen is still flowing through the tube. You're supposed to put that mask on yourself and then help others around you. Why do they say that? Well, obviously they say that because if you aren't getting oxygen and you're like a fish on the beach flapping there trying to suck some air, you're not going to be any good to the people around you, the people who are sitting next to you, who very well could be your loved ones. You have to give yourself permission to do this for yourself. I want you to think about that. Think about this. When was the last time that you planned to go to yoga or to go to Pilates? When's the last time that you just wanted to meet up with your friend and take a nice walk around the block or just cruise around the trail? How about this? When was the last time you planned a date night with your significant other? You're going to go out to dinner or whatever. And what happened? What happened to that plan? Let me guess and see if this resonates with you guys. And I'd love to see you in the chat. You're planning to go out. You're all gussied up. You actually put on a jacket and took a shower. Then the phone rings, and it's a social worker. It's some colleague or a social worker, a caseworker, or God forbid, it's a policeman, and they're talking about your loved one, or they're concerned about somebody in your family, or it is your loved one. She's lost her shoes and she needs a new pair right now. Your son has been arrested. He's down here at the lockup. Or I need a ride to my appointment. I can't get there any other way. Or, God, who knows? All these demands that are being dumped on you that have to happen immediately, right? All of a sudden, your whole day gets messed up. You get all screwed up and tied and twisted up, and you turn around backwards. You drop everything. Next thing you know, you're going to bed at night, full of anxiety and stress. Your head hits the pillow, and you realize, holy cow, I didn't accomplish anything that I wanted to do today for myself because I was consumed with fixing the problems for everybody else. Guys, it's not okay. I'm just so honored and blessed that you guys have given your time to be here with me tonight. I want you to make more time like this for yourselves. You have to make time for yourselves every single day. Do the things that you need to do for you that are important to you. And what we say around my office is that we're going to talk about the dirty little F word. I know a lot of you guys know a lot of dirty little F words, but I'm going to talk to you about one that we use all the time. It's only got 3 letters, and it's fun. F-U-N. Whatever fun means to you, make sure you're doing it. That's the F word of the day, okay? So take some time every single day and make sure you're putting some fun into your world. Make sure that you're leaving white space in your calendar so that you could have fun. I mean, fun for some of you, may be, I don't know, doing crossword puzzles. It may be going for a 20-mile jog. Not me. Maybe some of you like that kind of thing. Maybe some of you just like to meditate or vegetate. Watch a little boob tube. But make sure you put in, you know what? As a matter of fact, I know that some of you are probably watching on the phones right now, so let's not pull out our phones and actually do this. But take this away from this get together. You can go in your phone and you can type at noon every single day. Just type the word fun. You can do it right now if you're not watching me on your telephone. I don't want you to put your phone down and lose me. This is more important. Type fun in there at 12 o'clock every single day. And then make it a recurring appointment every single day. 12 o'clock every single day, you're going to get a recurring appointment reminder that reminds you to have fun. Okay? Give yourself that permission. Embrace that permission. Make sure you have it every day. And part of all of this, and so the next topic is very closely related to this, is I want every single one of you to get on your soapbox. Said no one ever in the history of ever. But I'm serious. I want you on your soapbox. I really mean it. I want you climbing to the mountaintop, and I want you shouting as loudly as you possibly can. Part of taking care of your needs is letting other people know what your needs are. I mean, what's okay with you? What's not okay with you in terms of how much of you can give, how much people can make demands of you, how much you're willing to respect those demands. In other words, we have to set boundaries for ourselves to respect ourselves, and we have to set boundaries for other people to respect. The problem is that we get into this world where we're so willing to help others, and we tend to do it all the time. So people get used to it. I know that you know the dangers when others are used to getting helped or used to getting what they want or what they need. I mean, the example that always comes to my mind when I talk about this is my friend Sarah, who I believe is on here today, came to visit me with her baby daughter, and we were playing with bubbles. And the daughter was doing something that Sarah didn't like, and basically took the bubbles away. The baby started crying. So what did Uncle Mike do? Uncle Mike gave the bubbles back. Like, big mistake. I know it. Everybody knows it. It's parenting 101, right? What am I doing? I'm just reinforcing the bad behavior. I knew it. But, it's what we do. But getting to that mountaintop and shouting everything that's important to you is important. It's perfectly okay to have your boundaries in the face of that 2-year-old kid, as well as the 22-year-old child that lives in your house. You have to set those boundaries. You've got to let the people around you know what those boundaries are. And you have to do this consistently. You have to stick to those boundaries. You have to consistently let everybody around you know what those boundaries are. Remind them. Write them out on a piece of paper if you have to. Big sticky notes all over the place. Mom is not going to jump out of bed to make you a grilled cheese sandwich at 3 o'clock in the morning. It's not going to happen. Mom will not allow you to cry and scream your head off because I took your bubbles away and reinforce your bad behavior, right? I know you guys know exactly what I'm talking about. And this is not easy to do. This is the hard stuff. And this is where we lose ourselves when other people are allowed to bombard our boundaries. Lots of times what we wind up doing is to say, well, I'll give her the bubbles this one time, like I did. Because it's just easier to take the high road, or the easy road. It's not even the high road, it's the easy road. I don't want to be the bad guy. I want that little baby girl to love me like she already does. What's not to love? And I want her to be happy. So I'm reinforcing the bad behavior. I know it. I give you an example. We work with a lot of families. 3 in particular that I can think of, 4 actually that I can think of right off the top of my head, where we have young adult kids who have a form of personality disorder coupled with severe substance abuse disorder. Very, very difficult cases. And these kids, they're 22, 23, 24 years old. They call up their parents and they're saying, Ma, I don't have any money. Ma, I can't get my cigarettes. Ma, I can't buy my food. I can't do this. This is all your fault. And, we as parents feel horrible. And you take the call and you say, okay, well, we're doing a budget thing. We've got a treatment plan in place and I can't give you money. Well, then the phone rings again and again and again and again. And it just never seems to end. So we get tired and we say, okay, you know what? I'm going to send you a gift card. I'm going to send you a gift card to Walmart or Burger King or Dunkin' Donuts or whatever the case may be. And I mean, this is an extreme example, obviously, but I'm sure you already know where I'm going with this. As soon as that gift card gets out on the streets, right, what happens to it? Somehow it magically turns into cash, and that cash magically turns into some kind of substance or alcohol or something that this person is not supposed to have. And again, it's an extreme example, but we understand that we're very often, because we don't want to be the bad guy, we're very often putting ourselves and our loved ones in a position where we are hurting more than we're helping. It's very hard. It's very hard to set boundaries and stick to them. But I guess to make it as simple as possible, we just got to think about my friend Sarah's crying baby and her bubbles and just remember that we're really trying to help. And setting boundaries is selfless. It is not selfish. It is selfless. Give yourself permission to set boundaries. Okay, and the third hack that I want to give you is this concept of joining community. I mean, we're all here in a community right now. We had these Facebook ads that went out. The response to these Facebook ads blows my mind. There are so many people talking to each other and engaging with each other over these ads and what this picture meant to them and what it means to them in terms of their mental illness or their family's mental illness, that it's just so heartwarming to see people coming together and sharing their stories. People are walking in each other's shoes. People understand, they relate to each other. People know what you're talking about. People have lived it. People can be in touch with you emotionally. You have to engage in this kind of community and get around people like you're around right now who understand and support you. You know, there's an African proverb that says something, I don't know it exactly, but it basically says, if you want to go somewhere fast, go it alone. But if you want to go somewhere far, go with a group, go with a community. That's what I'm talking about here. We want to go far. I mean, it's really easy to jump in and sprint and try to be that parent that's solving all the problems. And like I said, my Wonder Woman analogy, fending off all the bullets flying at you. You know, but how long can you expect to do this sprint? I mean, the best sprinters in the world don't last. I mean, even the best trained thoroughbreds in the world, as we just saw the Kentucky Derby, you know, they have trouble running a mile and a half, and then they have to take a 3-week break before they can run again. So you for your family, you for your children, you for your loved ones, you have to try to do this, and you can't do this alone. I know that you see this, that you are lonely, that you want people to talk to. I think that you already see that going it alone is not working, because if you thought it was working, I don't think you'd be sitting here listening to my voice right now. I really want you around people that are here to engage with you, who are similarly minded to you. And then here's the best thing that happens. This is sort of wonderful and magical at the same time. What you find is when you start doing this kind of consulting work and you're starting to work with other people, as much as you think you're helping people, they're helping you, right? And your story, what you've done with your loved one, can be so invaluable for somebody else to hear. And other people telling their stories may just be like an aha moment for you, where it's, you know, it just turns on a light. I mean, I'm going to tell you, my role as a consultant, now this may not be the best way to sell myself, I understand that, but I learn as much from you guys as you're going to learn from me. And that's the beauty of the work, is that we're always learning and finding out new things, having new people tell us new expressions. You know, a woman I was talking to the other day said, I really feel like the world has dimmed my light. Oh my God, how powerful is that? You know, just every single day I learn so much from all of you. But so many of us don't do it. We don't join a group. We don't get involved. You know, it's too much energy, or I'm embarrassed. You know, I got the stigma of joining in a group. It's just something I'm not interested. And I just wonder how many of you guys are sitting there tonight and you just don't want to get in a group because you're afraid of it. You're afraid of going far with the community, and you'd rather sprint all by yourselves. But if that's you, I just really want you to, you know, give it a second and give it some thought and say, you know, how far is doing the sprint by myself really, really working for me? And I'll bet you'd say, you know, it hasn't been working so great. So let me just summarize quick. 3 life hacks. Number 1, give yourself permission to have some fun. Take care of yourself. Leave white space in your calendar. 2, it's your absolute duty. I'm going to mandate you all to set boundaries for yourself and consistently and emphatically let other people know what those boundaries are. And 3, remember that you don't have to go this alone. You can go fast by yourself, but you're going to go far with the rest of us. You can't do this by yourself. Please don't do this by yourself.